Friends, I greet you, with you as before Body Sergey. It's such a frosty morning today. As always, forecasters don't understand anything at all. Yesterday we were fishing. Completely different location. The weather is above zero. Everything flows, everything melts. As you can see, there is little snow left there. It was probably 30 to 40 centimeters. The rain passed, but yesterday we had a very good catch of roach. Today we decided to check the bream. Forecasters promised us -1 to 2 there at night. In fact, we arrived at the water and almost killed me, because -7 with a breeze felt like. How do they write like 7? But in fact it is considered to be type 15. It was a bit chilly. And the location is not entirely simple. The depth here is shallow. So the chances of being caught are getting smaller and smaller. With such a sharp drop and such depth, I think the chances of being caught will be slim. Well, nevertheless, the fishing will still take place, as they say, in any weather, by the composition of the bait. I picked it up right away. As small as possible. Fine-grained, so as not to oversaturate the fish, because the activity is probably not the greatest. There is also a minimal amount of aromatics in it, mixed everything in water. The only thing, 1 small bottle of biscuit concentrate, which the bream loves so much. I added 3 kilograms to that fishing. It won't make much difference. One way or another he'll wind up there a little bit. In the process of fishing, we will also try to add more, of course, if there is no fish. But thank goodness the composition is as odorless as possible, almost fine-grained, so as not to saturate the fish. Let's try all this on a residential component. Drive away carefully. That's how it feels, of course. I'll just have to work here on the delicate hooks. Neat and delicate serving, most likely purely moth. Let's see what comes out of this. Well, let's go and make peace, as they say. And look what I have, friends. Of course, from the outside, almost no one will probably recognize it, because it is an absolute novelty. But according to the handicap factor, I think many, they can guess too. This is an updated Practitioner 8 Beacon GPS. If anyone didn't watch my previous review, there won't be any details today. I'd definitely watch it. All the new products that appeared and improvements in the practice of Mayak 8. Wi-Fi can be seen in my previous episodes. Today we will be practically in online mode test, see what it is. Because my previous fishing trip also took place with him. But unfortunately, what time is it now? Jammers are working everywhere. He couldn't connect everywhere. That's why we had to leave the city. 2, as they say, test it in action. Besides the color of the cap, this color was chosen for a reason, because the indication that is now in this device. It is visible only at dusk. I don't know how the traffic light is for shipping. At home when it's charging it's just some kind of night light. That is, the whole device burns very brightly and can be seen very well. For this it is important for night fishing. Yes, even in winter when you arrive it's dark. Aren't you going to? It's already getting dark. This is a cool thing. Even during the day, time or cloudy, it is visible very well. Bright indication is also a cool plus. You can definitely even note the weight. Because in the last review, with Practitioner Lighthouse 8, without GPS he said that his weight there was about 75 grams, I think. And this weight is still a bit light. Competitors weigh 90. That was just something on the edge. Because the crosswinds even within their 5, probably 6 meters. Make their own adjustments and measure. With coastal format device. It's quite problematic in such wind. Because the weight of 75 seems like a lot, but with the volume and with even such a specific hard cast, the ball somehow flew away anyway, not very smooth. Here along with the addition of GPS the weight was added. I don't know, maybe the manufacturer listened, but in fact it is most likely some kind of additional load. From GPS sensor, he began to weigh 85 grams, and now the second day of throwing shows that the accuracy is not maximum, but she is close. And to the ideal. So 85 grams I think is a practice for the company. It's worth fixing this weight. And keep it in a certain balance. To load, not to load, and so on. The body remained intact. That is, it is absolutely 100% sealed. Great job with magnetic charging. As in the past. In the reviews I said that magnetic charging was achieved completely. In general, there are no exceptions to unscrewing the charging cap. Insert all these micro USB. With this magnetic charger it is a completely sealed device, which flies very accurately, and most importantly, shows in addition to the presence of fish. Relief structure. With new renderings. In the standard application my practitioner. Because I'll try to connect to the old one, he doesn't understand the old app. The application does not understand. What do I even want to connect there? In the new app everything is rendered perfectly. Yesterday without GPS it showed a very cool structure. After which I always check with a marker. Of course you have to believe with the device, but on habit want this increasingly. How to feel the tactile again, to understand what was in the picture, in general today. The main nuance, which helps to work with the device today. Practitioner 8 Beacon GPS. This is a drawing of maps. Now we don't just throw it into the water. We measure the depth there, look for fish, and so on. Now it is completely open for us. Map builder function. What's happened? Drawing. Maps and structures. After we throw in, the device starts showing depth and all this is standard. But for us the most important thing is the river button, which will record our track. This is after the cast, pulling the device towards himself, carefully twisting the coil. The device is recording a track. What is included in this track depth? The presence of fish structure and so on. After we fan process our fishing location, the whole track is saved, after which accordingly, in the upcoming fishing there at least in 6 months, even after a year we come and begin to understand. We have a rendering of these tracks, that is, in depth, where most often they're tried to hold back fish and so on, if you just bother too much. I did this on other devices at one time. On the site of the competition or the coastline where I fish most often, I just walked about a kilometer. I threw it so specifically I studied the terrain for myself. Yes, the maps already exist, long ago in various applications. On large rivers. But believe me there are a lot of sections of the river, which are not addressed. A large number of lakes, ponds and so on which are not addressed, and you can make this depth map for yourself. And accordingly on the map, the depth of your drawings should be chosen depending on the season. In winter there is more depth. Is it summer or spring there? Huddle closer to the little ones and so on. One important point that everyone was waiting for. Tried. Somehow or other it will be measured. We fought this with some of our own attempts. Ways of extinction. Extinction more precisely. This is the functionality that absolutely necessary for everyone who fishes with a feeder, carp, tackle and so on. This is the fishing distance. That is, after the device was abandoned. He immediately measures the distance from phone according to which it is connected to the device. That is, let's make a throw, there it says 43 meters. We start to twist it, it reduces this distance. The only thing is that I haven't worked it out yet. I will continue to do this. It is to understand how much. There is some delay. That is, the device shows a fish underneath it, you can put it directly to the lip. Or is it still like in older devices? In the boats that are standing, this is still a point that is already behind it. That is, so to speak, he made a peep there. We watch the fish enter the beam. It's about 43 by 3 meters there. Should we really put 43 or should we still retreat? This is the topic that needs to be worked on. Today I kind of tried it a little bit. The ball showed that the distance is 43 meters. Dump and canal ditch. After 43 the rise and exit begins. There is a slight difference in depth. I actually took some table. The marker has measured, and the distance was covered with pricks. I got it 42. And probably 70 centimeters. That is, it is practically 43 meters as he showed. I don't know what this is connected with, possibly with depth, because the greater the depth the correspondingly wider the beam. Then here it is measured somehow definitely, just perfect exactly I think. It's unlikely to work, but for amateurs fishing, who come and don't bother too much. As a mutant sport in its structure, it will be possible to retreat plus or minus what kind there I don't know. A couple of meters considering the depth and you can fish calmly. Everything else is the task of the bait to call the fish closer. Smeared like there. And call the fish closer to the water area. There is already work with a living component and so on. That's why all these goodies and features were added. Of course they made it out of the device. Practitioner 8 Beacon GPS, it's just a modern technological device, which simply has no competitors on the Russian market. I was also surprised by the topic, which was inherent in competing organizations, when the device itself works simply without losing connection. At all the distances that are declared, that is, in essence, what we throw there is feeder. I don't know about 50 to 60% there. We fish at distances of 50. Well, in the same ones I don't know there may be 70 maximum. The device never turned off at all, not even once. This makes me very happy, because you know that competitors have all sorts of amplifiers, exist and so on. An important point is that This device can now be used to draw and bait boats. So called. You fasten it and you control the boat with the remote control. Can you draw yourself all the way to that shore? I don't know there. 100 meters plus. And from the A-bats go through to draw the whole landscape. Location where you fish. So the device. Still, it deserves attention. If I were you, I would pay attention to it. And for now he helps me. Look for more than just fish. I'll be really concerned with these for now. Creating their own location maps. Which I will already work on. In the future. You are mine. Another change of leash. What can I say, guys? First hour. After feeding. Well, I'm really in a pessimistic mood. After that, the device showed the presence of fish. It was immediately clear that there was not enough of it here. And in general, in fact, to hope. At the beginning. Winter period. That the fish can already be found somewhere locally. Well, it's a pretty simple occupation for one simple reason, that the water was released. To winter lows and fish. First couple of weeks. I mean white fish. She just starts running and jumping somewhere. Jump to look for some receiving pits. In which it is necessary to fixate. But again there. Any acceptance there. Of course it will be suitable for her when the water is drained. But then they figure this technique out very quickly. They eat everything out there. And accordingly, they need a food supply. And the guys start climbing further. In fact, to immediately find some kind of hole among the holes, where the fish hang out. But it's quite difficult. You can just get hung up on it like I did in my time, and run along the banks with the device. Examine such a good volume of coastline and search. Where the fish has already been fixed, come there the next day and simply not find her there. So for now after feeding. The bites haven't started yet. For about 30 to 40 minutes they just threw themselves into silence. Trying to understand something, actually confirming your words and the instrument readings. That there is no local fish. After 30 to 41 minutes some vague swaying. Some kind of toilet brush. Some kind of small perch. They were talking about something like, we are at the right point. Initially I immediately chose that very deep point. At 43 because they promised partly cloudy weather. The sun is coming out, then the bream hides and is located in the depths there. 2+ probably not very comfortable, therefore the section of the river, through which he will definitely go sooner or later. I chose the deepest point. Well, in about 30 to 40 minutes. Worked purely with just chopped bloodworms. No maggots. There is no super dense saturation there. Definitely a cut bloodworm. I forgot to clarify along the way, that from right to left it is present. Throughout there. First hour and a half. There is a current, well, the feeder costs 50 grams. That is, there is definitely such a movement of water, because the top is a little tight. And a chopped bloodworm as a signal will definitely call a bream. What actually happened? First bite. Not between first and second there is some small gap. Third fish fourth. And there is just silence again. This means that it was just a flock walking. She didn't stay here long and moved on. All my chat attempts are there. Somehow slow down. Ah, fluffy hoe mixed with feed. We're not successful. I already understood the concept, did a little finishing touches, again cut off the bloodworm and began to wait for the next one. After 15 to 20 minutes the fish either returned, or some new one came in. Ah, and immediately I started adding small bloodworms as bait. I caught 2 to 3 fish in total. And the fish passed by again. I already understood the concept, that adding small bloodworms is definitely not worth it. You can and should sit purely on bait. I sat on pure complementary food. Okay. I caught 3-4 more fish. I don't understand what's going on. I just figured it out now. Just chopped bloodworms in each feeder. And everything is fine. Here is another bite. And everything is fine. Some analysis for now. The selection of hooks continues. And the bites are very strange. Of course there is a current. But there are no such bites. When there was a jerk and everything there was already bending. Bends the top and so on. All bites. It feels like we're fishing in a practically raging erection. Because a bite is like this. He stands there, he stands there, he stands there. That is, he can poke like this for at least a minute and a half. You start to raise the form. The bream is already there. It feels like he's just taking the nozzle. Without feeling any problems there. Hooks and so on. And its dimensions are not large. He stands at the point in fact. And is not going to float away anywhere. But strangely enough some functionality with the length of the leash. By presenting some obvious advantages they do not bring. Well, that's how it is. The little ones are pecking. But chopped bloodworm is the only argument for now. Which just makes you run up normally. Directly to the feeder. Leash 60 centimeters feeder like this small. Oh my god, poor thing. The fish is caught. In fact, they're in those 1.5 hours. I managed to catch probably about 10. There may be a little more bream. I have to sit down. Detailer looking for a good moth. Fortunately this is not a problem, because in the store Kirill Good Luck Plus. A large bloodworm is always in awesome condition. Literally 3-4 larvae. Feeder with cut bloodworms. We seal it with food. And this beauty is sticking out sharply. We throw the feeder in strongly, we don't tamp it down. Average hydration. There is no point in tamping it down. Because the depth is shallow, small fish. She's more interested in that of course. There's a little food there. A little bit on the drive. Spilled out in the tier. The food is not some kind of elevator food. I knew about the current. So 1 pack. In the bait there was something called current. Which practically does not produce dust at all. For now, such topics. The sun starts to hide right away frost. The sun is coming out. And my hands are warm. But for winter fishing it is experimental. I wanted to test the device more. Understand and at the same time. To conduct some reconnaissance on the bream. What they've been saying on the Moscow River lately. That the breams are all not super big. Everything there is up to 400 grams. I checked one section. I'll sit for another hour and a half and do some magic. Because bites have already started to appear. When from the category they're just shook. And just abandoned. Try to conjure with hooks. There is definitely nothing to change in the presentation. I don't feel like dripping aroma. Or maybe I'll try it at my own risk at the end. It may strengthen, or it may most likely kill. At all. Maybe such delicate ones. Fishing in strong concentration of aroma. They won't do anything good. I am a suitcase, I am a suitcase. 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 I am a suitcase, I am lemonade, I am a suitcase. Another freeze of some kind. In bites. I need to drink some tea, but the tea is biting very well. You're distracted either by your phone or tea usually activates the point well. I think those who constantly brings in winter feeder understands what I'm talking about. Well, what about witchcraft with hooks? It still brought results. I waited literally probably 5-10 casts for 2 minutes. Got a couple more swings, which ends in nothing. Says that he lifts the nozzle, feels and throws the hook, which would seem to be completely. I would never attribute it to bream. This is a hook-shaped crystal, which is just there, well, maximally close to the hook leg. That is, it is a form, which simply resembles the shape of a crystal. There is a very narrow hook in this part. In size 16. If you put it on there 1-2 moths and no bites. If you put it on, you fill it completely with bloodworms. This is 4-5 pieces. The hook is almost invisible. Then he just pumps the bites there. After the 3rd or 4th swing you get it there. But it's all right here, like. The edge of the lip says that it's just there at lip level. All this trying to lift, feel and so on. That is, there is no such format. That he's like a vacuum cleaner there. He drags it all somewhere into his mind. And here is a small cedar hook, 16th number crystal form. I started bringing bream after bream. Probably caught a few more. 7-8 exactly per hour is certainly not a strong indicator. Well, that's what winter feeder is like. You can come and get to a certain location at a certain time to make a full garden. And you can sit like this to be caught and figured out every time. The tea didn't work. Need to re-upload again. The main thing is not to get too worked up, because winter feeder is not just sitting and freezing your hands in the fresh air. It's still a certain pace. The fish asks you about it itself. If the bites still happened, which you have there up to 3 minutes. It's definitely not worth sitting there for more than 4. If bites occur after casting there are 2 minutes. Then 3 minutes is enough for you to check that. What fish didn't bite because I tried to sit there for 7 to 8 minutes. Well, they are definitely at your point. There is no development there. I don't know. Some super big fish won't come. It's more like a lottery. That's why we definitely feed them. Changing feeders. Now we'll try to move to the window. Since they like chopped bloodworms so much. Let's just try to shove chopped bloodworms into this window. And just sit on a moth. Because it feels like fish, well. Not very active phase. But again, the situation hasn't completely gelled together yet. At the end I want to check it with the device again. By the presence of fish, she is still. Does it pass or does it still stand at the point and just like that? Touchy, upset and delicate. In his behavior. Or is it still as I said, that it is just a migratory fish in this location, which does not stagnate here? Well, we'll see in the end. I'll sit for another 30 to 40 minutes, and let's sum it up. Well, friends, let's see what we managed to catch. In the last 30 to 40 minutes I probably caught 3 to 4 more fish. In the end I didn't invent anything with the aroma. The fish is still, as I said, migratory. The device didn't show anything either. He says there are no fish here, let's get going. The only thing is that now you can see it clearly. There's enough frost again towards the end of the day. Be sure to use forms with large rings. I even had one shooter today. There was a shock leader. And the shooting was not because what type node pierced the ice, but there was just an old trace left there. The leader was shocked and he flew away. In fact, even with large rings, the shock leader fits well. I was fishing with elegance today in the second series. If you haven't watched the review of the form, be sure to watch it. I was just showing the difference between these rings. The rings there are just such real burdocks, which the stick 3 and 9120 waved all day today, so that there would be such a reserve, because you have to catch them in different locations each time, at different distances. Such a versatile stick. Well, the weather we have today is certainly punished a little. But still the Moscow River is the Moscow River. Well, a kilogram. 5, then I think there is definitely one here, maybe even 6. Small-sized rascal. It is in quantity, the most important. Go fishing, experiment with your favorite activity, and you will definitely get results. And was Sergey Puzanov with you? Bye everyone, like and subscribe.